I'm Dr. Kongsak Tanphaichitr. We'll be talking about resuming the norm of one's mind to end suffering through dynamic rhythmic meditation. Luangpor Jittasupo described that the fact that we move means to wake ourselves up. Whenever we think, let it be aware. Awareness will extinguish greed-headed delusion. It will extinguish clinging or attachment. Then our mind would be normal. When it is normal, whatever comes into contact with us, we would feel or sense it all. Whenever we feel, it would be as if that thing is being severed apart, like a cut rope. A person doesn't exist. That is what is being said, that the Buddha killed people to death, leaving only the life of a monk. A monk's life has no birth and no death. Luangpor Teean Jittasupo. It's like a cut rope and a monk's life with no birth and no death. So why does one suffer? One suffers one's own biased thoughts, embedded with greed and delusion, which sneak in with your thoughts. Is piggyback with your own biased thought, as a biased thought. The true nature of the mind, the Buddha described is luminous, but tainted with transitory mental impurities. It means not the true nature of the mind with this transitory greed-headed delusion that you invite him in, but they never left you because you don't see that you're in the sneaky thoughts. It can enslave you under these biased thoughts, make you suffer. So when you clear your biased thoughts, clear your mind back to its true basic nature, become luminous again, void of greed-headed delusion, void of suffering. So you can practice sitting meditation with dynamic rhythmic meditation with 15 steps, sometimes called 14 steps of movement. If you count the first one, resting your hand, palms down on the thigh, as the first step will be 15 steps. Second step is that turn your right hand onto its edge. Be aware. Do it slowly. Then stop. Do not say anything to yourself. Just simply be aware is enough. So do with your eye open. Look down, immediately in front of you. No need to know left or right. Don't fixate your mind, your hand either. Just simply you know that your body is moving. No need to know left or right hand. Raise right hand up, be aware, and then stop. Fourth step, lower the right hand to rest on the abdomen. Be aware and then stop. Next step is to turn left hand onto its edge, be aware and then stop. Rest left hand up, be aware and then stop. 7, lower the left hand to rest on the right hand or your abdomen, be aware and then stop. Move the right hand up to rest on the chest, be aware and then stop. Move right hand out, be aware and then stop. Lower right hand onto the edge, its edge on the thigh, be aware and then stop. Pressing the right palm down, be aware and then stop. Moving the left hand up to the chest, be aware and then stop. Then move the left hand out, be aware and then stop. Lower left hand onto its edge on the thigh and then stop. Be aware and then stop. Pressing left palm down, be aware and then stop. Complete one cycle. But you don't need to count, because counting is conceptual again. Don't need to count. Just simply do it. Be aware of it when you move or stop. When you're aware of your body, it awakens your body. Aware of your mind awakens your mind. Same awareness. But when it gets keener, it starts to catch your mind movement as it arises, as it moves around in your thoughts, as a thoughts. So right mindfulness basically is mindful awareness. Basically, what does it mean by that? This is part of the Noble Eightfold Path, right mindfulness and right concentration. So right mindfulness is basically pure perception, choiceless awareness, unbiased perception, perceiving without passion, non-judgmental knowing, unknowing knowing. What is that? It's basically knowing without biased thoughts, perceiving things with wisdom, with no problem. In whatever phenomena arise through your six sense sphere, through your eyes, your nose, tongue, body, and mind, you become aware of it in such nature, through such nature. หลวงพ่อคำเขียน Suwanno stated that self-awareness or sampachanya, basically, why is it so important? So meditation would not be fruitful without it, he said that. So self-awareness or sampachanya is a Dharma practice itself. It is mindfulness or sati and self-awareness, sampachanya, that you practice. Keep sati and sampachanya within one's body and mind, or simply refer to them together as self-awareness. Sometimes people refer to them together as mindfulness. But self-awareness is more direct on it. Meditator's standing ground is self-awareness. Self-awareness is the only essential Dharma in the palm of one's hand of the practitioner. Self-awareness lets one realize suffering, as well as the end of suffering. With self-awareness, there would then be detachment and letting go. Ceasing and extinguishing would come through self-awareness. Self-awareness includes morality, mental concentration, and wisdom, or threefold training in Buddhism within it. Self-awareness is avoiding doing bad deed, doing good deed, and purify one's mind. Basically, these are the Buddha's core teaching or heart of Buddhism. Self-awareness would also result in liberation or Nirvana. หลวงพ่อคำเขียน Suwanno. As he showed, as หลวงพ่อคำเขียน showed on this illustration on this wall, when you're aware of your body moving, seeing the mind thinking or mind movement, basically it's like it will cut through your mind, your thoughts, like a rope is severe. Basically, you cannot reattach them together. When things come in contact, the mind see it and let it pass. There you go. You cannot condition your mind anymore when you catch your thought as it arises. So your mind thinking and so on. So it's like a cut rope, can never be reattached. When it is normal, whatever comes into contact with us, we would feel or sense it all. Whenever we feel, it would be as if thing is being severed apart, like a cut rope. A person does not exist. Teean Jittasupo described this. When people think, in the thought, which is basically space and time, kala and tesa. Thought and concepts always deal with time, kala, and space, tesa. They're not pure perception. Sanya parisutti, nor true direct experiencing, sava sangvetana. It's not mindful awareness, sati sampachanya, but being conditioned by one's own biased perception, sanya chetana, biased perception that condition your mind into biased thoughts. So in conceptual or virtual phenomena, instead of the true ultimate phenomena or ultimate reality, you're being conditioned by your biased thoughts. One sufferer also on biased thought, Luangpor Teean Jittasupo stated that. The Buddha also described that past is gone and future hasn't arrived yet. So why let it condition your mind? You just see the reality of it. Ultimate reality, not into the conceptual phenomena. So when you're in the conceptual phenomena, you're basically being fooled by your ignorance, or vicca, is you're being fooled by it, or not knowing the truth. Not knowing what? 8 things. Not knowing the Four Noble Ultimate Truth, or Four Noble Truth. As a literal, I mean ultimate truth. That you don't know suffering, cause of suffering, cause and effect. The second is the cause of the first. Cause conditioning. Third is end of suffering. Fourth, you don't know the middle path to end suffering. Fifth, you're entrapped in the thought of the past. Sixth is you're trapped not knowing the future. You're trapped in the thought of the future. And 7, not knowing the past and future. Sometimes you're trapped in the thought that lasts from the past into the future. Beginning in the past, like someone owing you some money, a couple of $1,000, and you try to think at the present time into the future. What will you do to him next time when you see him again? You're going to ask for the money to be returned to you, or what you're going to do something to him or her else as a consequence if they don't want to return the money. So you're in the thought of the past into the future. And the age, you don't see the present as it's dependent arising. It's law of causation, cause conditioning. And you hear because listening to me because of dependent arising. You like to know what's the truth about nature of your mind. So that's why you're sitting here, cause and effect, law of causation. Want to know the true nature of things and so on. So Kemananda stated that self-awareness or sampachanya basically is the Buddha, because sampachanya, self-awareness, is the wisdom. Inside wisdom basically lead you to enlightenment or the Buddhahood. It's a roadmap and a treasure, because when you practice sampachanya, self-awareness, you're treading through the roadmap. You see the roadmap, what will take you to the treasure. If you keep practicing, will take you to the treasure, or liberation, or Nirvana. Another great insight Vipassana meditation master also describes sampachanya or self-awareness as is the Buddha's enlightenment. It's the greatest discovery by the Buddha and his greatest gift to mankind. So self-awareness has great benefit in that regard. When you practice, lead you to enlightenment. And this was the Buddha's discover as the greatest discovery, and gave it to us as a way to practice through the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Self-awareness on the subtle movement as a sampachanya bappa technique been described by the Buddha as being aware when you're stepping forward or backward, like you're in tight corner at the airport restroom, you don't want to hit the toilet bowl. You'll be aware of your step forward or backward. Looking ahead or sideways, like you're in different peculiar places, you might want to be alert, look around, make sure there's no stranger approaching you unintentionally or trying to harm you, and so on. Stretching or bending, like you do a rhythmic dynamic meditation, as described earlier. Getting dressed, like we do daily, at least twice a day. Eating, drinking, chewing, tasting, you be aware of all those, including urinating, defecating, you're aware of it. Aware when you walk, stand, sit, or lay down, or the four major posture, which is another way to cultivate mindful awareness. But this technique on the subtle movement was so pronounced that the Buddha described it singly, separately, as a self-awareness technique, because it's so dominant in resulting self-awareness. So we pull it up as a different category to practice. Or when you aware when you wake up, when you're talking, or remain silent. Sometimes remain silent is more difficult than when you're talking, because you're dying to ask questions or make comment and so on. You need to be aware of your mind on that state. So self-awareness has a purpose to do basically to awaken your body and mind up by being aware of your body and mind. Aware of your mind, awaken your mind. Aware of your body, awaken your body. Suitability, any environment is good to do, like sweeping, cooking, watching, walking, breathing. The best place and best environment to gain self-awareness is not at home, or at the temple, or at work, or any other place else, but any place that will result you to gain self-awareness. Any place that you have to have self-awareness, that's the best place to practice. So it doesn't depend on place as well. It's only any action that bring on the suitability to gain self-awareness. It could be walking, washing dishes, sweeping, and so on. Domain of meditation is basically about body and mind, of form and name, or name and form. Can be at any place, any time. And reality is to see, witness the three universal marks of existence of all phenomena in the universe. That things are impermanent, unstable, imperfect, unbearable, and selflessness, uncontrollable. You can do this and gain it through rhythmic dynamic meditation. You become aware of your body. It awakens your body through this body movement. And aware of the mind, it awakens the mind. You gain a lot of benefit through this simple practice. So what does it mean with mindfulness? Mindfulness sees or retrieve phenomena. When you go through to the airport to travel, they put you through TSA when you go to the airport, so that they flock you up at gate A, B, or C, wherever your gate would be when you take off the flight. They retrieve you there, seize you, instead of running around to catch you. So mindfulness would retrieve you there, put it there. So for what? So that your self-awareness can come and investigate it. Put you through an X-ray machine, put your belongings through the scan, X-ray scan, or other equipment to find what you're hiding in your purse, in your jacket, under your belt or shoes, and inside your body, and so on. So that's a wisdom. And you practice like this with perseverance, atapi, 24/7. Formal, as I mentioned, the technique, and informally, you can practice 24/7 with mindfulness, self-awareness. With self-awareness, which will result in wisdom or panya. Mindfulness is sati, and the perseverance will result in practicing 24/7, gain steady mind or samadhi. And through self-observation, self-monitoring of your body, feeling, mind, mental phenomena. The four aspects of life that we all dwell in. Basically, you observe yourself, your life, and your daily activity. To do this for what? To get rid of desiring and undesiring nature that arise at your body, feeling, mind, mental phenomena. So clear your mind, not to be persuaded by desiring or undesiring nature that arise. So it's like playing musical chair with mindfulness. Only one can sit on that chair, or the king on the throne. He's not going vacationing or going hunting, but he's sitting on the throne. So what's the purpose? He's sitting there, no one dare to attack his fort, because he's ruling. So he has the wisdom to defend himself or to govern, to do things properly with his wisdom. The king on the throne with mindfulness and ruling with self-awareness. This is just like I said earlier, mindfulness retrieve or seize the phenomenon. In fact, put the king on the throne, or the mind too, with wisdom to govern with self-awareness. So insight meditation, insight would allow you to see the true nature of things, three universal mark existence. That things are impermanent, imperfect, and selfless in nature. Physically, sometimes you can easily see and recognizable, especially when you have certain time apart, like you haven't seen your grandchildren for a while, and then maybe 2 or 3 years, say they grow up a lot. You say, "Oh, you grow up so tall now." Or when they see you, they say, "Oh, you're getting so old than previous." Mentally, it's more difficult to perceive because mind is formless. So mindful awareness, become aware of your body movement through dynamic meditation, also result in be aware of your mind, catch your mind, your thought as it arises through the mind movement, seeing the mind movement. And you can see the true nature, witness the true nature of things, like arising, enduring, and ceasing as a norm. Just like this man born as a baby in the crib, become an infant, become teenager, young age man, a young man, middle-aged man, old man, and die, like different chapter in the book of this life. So impermanence obscured by instability, obscured by continuity. Like I said, you see yourself every day. You don't see anything, but you see someone who hasn't seen you for a while. Say, "Oh, you're getting old." And imperfection or unbearable nature is movement obscure, and selflessness or uncontrollable, the bundling obscure. Like people get stroke, can't move your body. You see the imperfection as well as impermanence, as well as selflessness that you can't control. You can't talk, can't swallow. As a stroke, the bundling is gone. The true nature of things is selflessness. The self is but transitory. It's transient phenomena that your mind generates to interact with the environment. It generates a sense of self temporarily. When you see, like eye consciousness, ear consciousness, when you hear, and so they temporarily exist, and then it generates temporal nature of sense of self to interact properly. The true nature of things is but impermanent, imperfect, and selfless in nature. Nothing long-lasting. You cannot control it totally. You can try to nurture it, but it runs its own course. So, pure versus bias, contact, feeling, and perception. the Buddha described how the mind functions in the four foundations of mindfulness, that through six sense organ, ayin was tang in mind, salayatana, it generates corresponding consciousness. When you see sight, eye consciousness arise and cease. Ear sound, ear consciousness arise and cease, temporary existing. Smell with nasal consciousness, taste with the tongue consciousness arise and cease, touch with the body consciousness arise and cease, and mind, the thought with mental consciousness arise and cease, temporary existing. You learn to see it in contact with sight, sound, smell, taste, such thoughts. Feeling arise with pure perception. Okay, like bright light and so on, pure perception, but then biased perceptions step in. Oh, I like this, beautiful flowers, beautiful fabric, and so on, beautiful fragrance, and so on. Result in craving and disturbing thought and obsessive thoughts. Craving or tanha is the cause of suffering, the second noble truth. With biased perception, we perceive with bias, like in the fact of feedback loop on the visual perception. When you perceive things through the eyes, come to optic chiasma and then visual tract to the back part of your brain called visual center. When the feedback loop is 5 times stronger, back to the midbrain to interpret things in the biased way. So become ITAC, or the general sense of self. As a neurologist, Professor Antonio Damasio, head of neurology at U of Iowa, he moved to USC subsequently to direct a big brain center there. He stated, in parallel with generating mental patterns for an object, the brain also generates a sense of self in the act of knowing. Exactly what the Buddha said. But Buddha is keener in saying it's not parallel, it's sequential. Pure perception without any awareness of the mind become biased perception because of the underlying greater delusion, your biased thoughts condition it. It results in craving, which is the second noble truth, essential desire, liking or disliking. It's the cause of suffering, second noble truth. And the first noble truth is suffering as a consequence or result. So Buddhism is about cause and effect. Nothing exists by itself independently except Nirvana. The rest is of cause and effect in the universe for things to be. So with mindful awareness, you can cut it off, stop at pure perception without wasting your brain energy into biased perception, craving and suffering that torture you physically and mentally, or mentally and physically. So you can clear your mind with end of suffering, with that's third noble truth, with mindful awareness, with pure perception. So a person is, or life form, Buddha described life form as 5 skandha or 5 khandha, body or form, feeling, perception, thought formation, and consciousness together form a person. Feeling, perception, thought formation are mental activities that condition your mind and so on, that you can track them down, because mind is formless, but you can track them down with feeling, perception, and thought formation. It's this mental activities that see things through the sixth sense sphere as endearing and pleasing. Instead of pure perception, it becomes biased perception. If you perceive wisely with pure perceptual processing, with simple vedana and sanya, pure feeling and pure perception, then it'll be active and neutral, pure perception. So no craving. Craving is released and ends, or not being formed. But if your lack of mindful awareness, everything you perceive will feel full of conceptual processing, or sanya chetana, you're being tainted with your biased thoughts. You're being passively and biasedly perceiving things, or sankhara, being conditioned by your biased thoughts. So you end up with craving, arise and sustain endlessly, unless you catch your thoughts as arise and see your thought, that you're being conditioned by those thoughts, then the thought would die down, then you can clear your mind, back to the norm of your mind. So all phenomena are not worth clinging to, as the Buddha described. So you can practice 24/7 mindfulness meditation to rhythmic dynamic meditation. As we move our time, 24/7 you can do this while you're awake. Through observation, self-observation of your body, feeling, mind, mental phenomena, the four foundations of mindfulness and self-awareness. With perseverance, practice 24/7 with self-awareness and mindfulness at your body, feeling, mind, mental phenomena. Get rid of desiring, undesirable nature of that happen in your mind. So when your mind is more steady, it becomes keener, swifter, wiser, can witness the true nature of things, that the three universal mark of existence, the true nature of things, that of impermanence, imperfection, selflessness, unstable, unbearable, uncontrollable, are the true nature of things, not worth clinging to. And you can this lead to insight wisdom that clear your mind. See the burden of clinging to self. That's why the Buddha said all phenomena are not worth clinging to, especially your self-concept hologram, which is not truly there. Self-image hologram that you carry around. You get disenchanted, discerned, or dispassionate, and liberated, or released. Clear your mind. Back to equanimous mind, norm your mind, free of suffering, Nirvana. So we come to witness the four ultimate truths of suffering, cause of suffering, end of suffering, middle path to end suffering. Basically, it's a cause and effect. Second noble truth is the cause of the first. When your mind reaching outwardly with desire, sensual desire, liking or disliking, or tanha, or craving, it end up with the consequence resolved as suffering. As Buddha summed up as the five aggregates of clinging are suffering. As I mentioned, the five aggregates, which is a life form. When you cling to it, it ends up with suffering. Normally, it suffers by itself as the natural suffering of physical suffering that everyone face, but you're being conditioned by Jittasupo, or mental conditioning suffering, or by your thoughts, like you're being hit by a second arrow, not only with the first arrow, like everyone else, you hit as a second arrow, for the one who don't see their own mind, don't see their own biased thought. But the noble one can free themselves, not being hit by the second arrow, being shot at but missed, because he see the thought that came up as it arises. So it won't be suffered by conditioning of the mind. You only suffer for physical phenomena, that natural process, like everyone else, the power took. So when you practice middle path, like mind seeing mind clearly, with mindful awareness, right mindfulness, with mindful awareness, you catch your mind, your thought as it arises, see the biased thoughts. So clear your mind, back to the norm of your mind. And then with the third noble truth, end of suffering, back to the norm, equanimous mind. So law of causation is hidden in there. Fourth is the cause of the third, the receding pathway. Second is the cause of first, arising pathway of suffering. The end of suffering is the fourth and the third. So what is Nirvana? Buddha described in the Nirvana Sutra that among such status does exist. It's not the form, divine realm, earth, wind, water, and fire, or first to fourth jhana of mental absorption. It's not the formless divine realm, fifth to eighth jhana. It's not boundless space, not boundless concentration. It's not nothingness. It's not neither perception nor non-perception, or fifth to eighth jhana. And it's not this worldly realm or sensual desire realm. It's not this realm or next life, the sun and the moon, the physical world that you see in the universe. It's not this sensual desire realm or the three major realms, sensual realm, form realm, and formless realm. Nirvana is not included in those three major realms or 31 sub-realms. Nirvana does exist in such status. Monks, I do not call such status or nirvana as coming, going, sustaining, death or birth. Basically, it's no birth or death or coming and going in there. It's already there, perfectly formed. It's infinite in nature. So there's no location for such status. It's not ongoing. It's not a phenomenon. So there's no such thing like that. But in that status, it is the end of suffering, or nirvana. Luangpor Atulo described that nirvana, nirvana as such. Once mind is developed to its true original status, mind would see mind clearly, or self-awareness sees the mind. Mind would be above and beyond all conventional phenomena, beyond any having or being. It's above and beyond words or any reference. It's but a pure and luminous nature, merging with the pure and luminous voidness of the original universe as one, called Nirvana. Luangpor Atulo. So basically, it merged with the background of the universe, this pure mind. As the Buddha described Nirvana, basically, it equates to the background of the universe, is anywhere in the universe, allowing the universe to keep expanding infinitely, indefinitely. Indefinitely, because it's this voidness, emptiness, the great voidness, emptiness is existing there, fully formed, no coming and going, no rising or ceasing, no birth or death in there. It's just the big voidness, limitless voidness around us and everywhere in the universe. Is the background of the universe that the pure mind merged into as one, called Nirvana, beyond any realm described. As a matter of fact, this is what's been discovered by science, that the Earth spins around itself at 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, and the Earth revolves around the Sun at 67,000 miles per hour, and our solar system moves around the Milky Way galaxy at 500,000 miles per hour in the Milky Way galaxy. And the Milky Way galaxy moves around the Virgo supercluster to form part of the Laniakea a major supercluster, a great attraction, which is only one of the 10 million supercluster that we're aware of. Yet, could be much more in the universe. Okay, and the physical, but that's only 4% that we're observing as a physical form. 96% is invisible aspect, a third of which are dark matter, which attracting together. And 2/3 is dark energy to push the universe apart. And it's stated that at the edge of the universe is moving fast, possibly faster than the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second. Whether that's possible need to be proved in the future. So we move at 360 miles per second or at any time, about 495 kilometers per second. But we didn't feel because we're so small and we're part of the moving earth. Like you sit in the car, you don't feel whether they drive at 70 or 100 miles per hour because you move along with it. Unless you put a brake on, then you can feel the momentum that your head is hitting the windshield. So the true nature in meditation, you basically come to witness in your universal substance and the ultimate, like in contact with the true nature of things. See the changing nature of things ongoing in the universe, not long lasting. So everyone has a Buddha nature. If you practice mindful awareness unbiasedly as a middle path towards insight wisdom, you can witness this, that all beings have Buddha natures, Buddha seed basically. All beings are similar to the Buddha. All beings are the Buddha, as Luangpor Teean stated. A lotus for you. Everyone has a Buddha nature. You can get enlightenment when you practice mindful awareness unbiasedly. A Buddha to be. So you can be enlightened. Perfecting your mind, back to the norm of your mind, freeing yourself from suffering, being back in the equanimous mind, and attain Nirvana. Thank you for your attention.